I'm standing in the rain, soaking wet, staring at the house that used to be mine. My suitcase sits beside me on the sidewalk, and my hands won't stop shaking as I hold the divorce papers Victoria just shoved into my chest. 30 minutes ago, I walked through that front door like I'd done 1,000 times before. I thought maybe tonight we'd finally really talk about us, about the 3 months since I lost my IT job, about how to fix this. Instead, I found Victoria in the living room with him. Daniel, she'd said, not even looking guilty. We need to talk. Marcus Trent stood behind her, one arm draped over her shoulder like he owned the place. His suit probably cost more than I made in half a year, navy blue, perfectly tailored, gold cufflinks catching the light. He smiled at me, actually smiled. What's going on? I asked, though something in my gut already knew. Victoria crossed her arms. I can't do this anymore. You're a useless failure, Daniel. 3 months without a job. I deserve better than this. I've been trying. Trying isn't enough. Her voice rose, sharp and cold. I married you thinking you'd amount to something, but you're just like your father, a nobody who worked in a factory his whole life and died with nothing. That hurt more than anything else. My dad had been a good man, quiet, humble, hardworking. He'd died 5 years ago, and I still missed him every day. Marcus finally spoke, his voice smooth and mocking. No hard feelings, man. Victoria needs someone who can actually provide for her, you understand. I looked at Victoria, my wife of 7 years. You're serious? She thrust the papers at me. I already signed them. Marcus's lawyer drew them up. I want you out tonight. This is my house too, actually. Marcus interrupted. I checked. It's in Victoria's name. You've got no legal right to be here. He pulled out his phone, fingers dancing across the screen. In fact, I'm texting you right now, so you have my number, in case you need. I don't know. Advice on moving on. My phone buzzed. I looked down at the message. Thanks for keeping my seat warm, loser. I could have fought, could have screamed, could have demanded answers about how long this had been going on, but I didn't. I just walked upstairs, packed a suitcase with whatever I could grab in 5 minutes, and left. Now I'm standing in the rain, watching warm light glow through the windows of what used to be my home. My phone keeps buzzing with more messages from Marcus, each one more degrading than the last. I have nowhere to go. Almost no money, and apparently no wife. I turn away and start walking. Mom opens the door before I even knock. Her eyes are already red from crying. She called you. I say, "Oh, Daniel." She pulls me inside, and that's when I break. I haven't cried since I was a kid, but standing in my childhood home, soaking wet and holding everything I own in one suitcase, I can't hold it together anymore. Mom holds me while I sob into her shoulder. I feel like I'm 10 years old again, except this time, Dad isn't here to tell me everything will be okay. After a while, she leads me to the kitchen and makes tea. We sit across from each other at the same table where I ate breakfast before school for 18 years. Victoria said I was just like Dad. I finally say, a factory worker nobody. Mom's expression changes something I've never seen before. Sadness mixed with resolve, like she's making a decision she's been avoiding for years. Wait here, she says. She disappears into her bedroom and returns holding a worn manila envelope. Her hands tremble slightly as she places it in front of me. Your father made me promise to only give you this if you ever truly needed it, she says quietly. I think that time is now. I open the envelope. Inside is a black bank card, no bank name, no logo, just a series of numbers embossed in gold, and a handwritten note in Dad's familiar scrawl. I read it aloud. Daniel, if you're reading this, you faced something that tested your character. The man who walks away from cruelty is stronger than the one who fights it. This card represents everything I couldn't tell you while alive. Use it wisely. Trust yourself. Dad. I stare at the card, then at Mom. What is this? Your father had his reasons for everything. She says, not quite meeting my eyes. Go to Pacific Trust Bank downtown tomorrow. They'll know what to do. Mom, Dad worked in a factory. What could this possibly, Daniel? Her voice is firm now. Trust your father, please. I want to argue, to demand answers, but I'm too exhausted. That night, lying in my childhood bed, I clutch the card and wonder if this is some kind of cruel joke. Maybe there's $50 on it, maybe nothing. Maybe Dad had secrets I never knew about. The next morning, I take the bus downtown wearing my last clean shirt. I feel ridiculous walking into Pacific Trust Bank, one of those massive buildings with marble floors and chandeliers. This card probably doesn't even work. I approach a young teller named Alex, according to his name tag. He barely glances at me. I need to check the balance on this card, I say, sliding it across the counter. He picks it up, looking skeptical. Sir, this doesn't have any bank markings. Just try it, please. He sighs and swipes it. Frowns, swipes again. His face goes pale. Sir, please wait here, he says, suddenly formal. He practically runs to get his supervisor. Within minutes, I'm surrounded by bank employees, all looking at me strangely. A woman in her 50s appears sharp, pied, professional, her name tag reading Linda Martinez, senior manager. She examines the card like it's a historical artifact. Mr. Chen, can you come with me, please? Her tone is respectful but urgent. I'm escorted to a private office with leather chairs and artwork on the walls. She makes a phone call, speaking in low tones I can't quite hear. Then she turns to me. Sir, this card has triggered our executive protocol. For security purposes, we've contacted the authorities and our chairman. My heart pounds. Authorities, am I in trouble? No, sir. It's standard procedure for accounts of this nature. 20 minutes later, a calm, professional man in a gray suit enters. Mr. Chen, I'm Detective James Wu. Can I see some identification? My hands shake as I show him my driver's license. How did you obtain this card? He asks gently. My father, Robert Chen, he died 5 years ago. My mother gave it to me last night. I don't understand what's happening. Detective Wu exchanges a glance with Linda. She types something into her computer, then slowly turns the screen toward me. The number I see doesn't make sense. It's too many digits. Account balance $847,000,000. I can't breathe. Can't speak. This has to be a mistake. Some kind of computer error. Mr. Chen, Linda says softly, your father was Robert Chen, correct, also known as R.C., anonymous donor. I nod numbly. Your father was one of the most significant philanthropists in the state's history. This account is your inheritance. I sit in that office for 2 hours while Linda and Detective Wu explain everything, but I still can't fully process it. Your father was born into immense wealth, Linda says. His family owned manufacturing corporations across Asia. When he immigrated here at 25, he brought his fortune but chose to live modestly. He worked at a factory, I whisper. He chose to, Detective Wu says. He wanted to understand real life. That's where he met your mother. Linda pulls up files on her computer. Your father spent decades anonymously funding schools, hospitals, scholarships, community centers. He built the children's hospital where you were born. My chest tightens. What? He funded the scholarship program that sent you to college. She continues. He lived simply because he wanted his children to develop character without the corruption of easy wealth. He made us promise, Linda says, that his children would only receive their inheritance if they proved themselves worthy not through success, but through integrity when facing hardship. Detective Wu shows me newspaper articles about the anonymous benefactor. Grainy photos show Dad in the background of charity events, always avoiding cameras, always dressed in ordinary clothes. I feel angry, confused, amazed. Why didn't he tell me? The door opens, and an elderly man enters distinguished, probably in his 70s, wearing an expensive suit, but carrying himself with warmth. Daniel, he says, extending his hand, I'm Preston Caldwell. I was your father's attorney for 40 years. We shake hands, and he sits beside me. The money is yours, Preston says, but your father had conditions, not legal restrictions, philosophical ones. He wrote this in his will. Preston reads from a document. Wealth given too easily creates weak men. Wealth earned through suffering creates wise men. He hands me papers to sign, bank access codes, property deeds. Your father owned buildings you've walked past your whole life, Daniel. I think of Victoria's voice, just like your father, a nobody who worked in a factory. I think of her kicking me out for being worthless. The irony is crushing. Your father knew exactly what he was doing, Preston says, as if reading my mind. He gave you something more valuable than money. He gave you the chance to discover who you are without it. Preston's advice rings in my ears as I leave the bank. Watch how people treat you when they think you have nothing. You'll learn who deserves to be in your life. I don't tell anyone about the money. I rent a modest apartment and start meeting with financial advisors Preston arranges. Meanwhile, Victoria posts photos on social media, her and Marcus at expensive restaurants, her showing off jewelry, captions like finally living my best life. Each post is a knife, but I don't respond. 2 weeks after I left, Sarah Kim shows up at my apartment. She's been my friend since childhood, smart, loyal, now a successful attorney. I heard about Victoria, she says, hugging me. I'm so sorry, Daniel. Thanks for checking on me. She sits down, pulling out her tablet. Have you seen the news? Marcus Trent's real estate empire is collapsing. 3 of his development projects are under investigation for fraud and safety violations. I stare at the article she shows me, Marcus's face on the business news looking strained. I haven't done anything, I say. Sarah looks at me carefully. You seem different, calmer. I make a decision. Sarah's been there for me through everything. I tell her about the card, about Dad, about the money. Her jaw drops. Then she starts laughing. Your father was brilliant, and so are you for not immediately flaunting this. Preston said to wait to see who people really are. He's right. She squeezes my hand. I'm here for whatever you need, not because of the money, because you're my friend. That afternoon, Victoria calls for the first time since the divorce. Her voice has a strange edge. Daniel, I need to talk to you about something. Against my better judgment, I agree to meet at a coffee shop. When she arrives, she looks stressed. Her makeup isn't quite perfect, her designer bag slightly worn. I think we were too hasty, she starts with fake sweetness. Maybe we should reconsider, Victoria. You made your choice. Don't be petty. Marcus is having temporary problems. I thought maybe you'd understand. Maybe we could. I understand perfectly. I stand up. I'm just the broke factory worker's son, remember? I'm sure Marcus will figure it out. Goodbye, Victoria. As I walk away, something unfamiliar washes over me. Self-respect. David shows up at Mom's house unannounced 3 weeks later. My younger brother, charismatic, irresponsible, always chasing get-rich, quick schemes. We haven't spoken in 3 years. Daniel, he hugs me like we're best friends. I heard about the divorce. Wanted to check on you, man. Mom looks uncomfortable. I know immediately. She told him about the inheritance. Over dinner, David pitches investment ideas. We should partner up, start a tech company. I've got connections in Nevada. I'm still figuring things out, I say carefully. His enthusiasm deflates slightly. Well, when you get Dad's money sorted out, we should definitely collaborate. 50-50, obviously, since we're brothers. 50-50 on money Dad left specifically to me. Mom catches my eye. She sees my disappointment. After David leaves, she apologizes. He's not bad, just lost. Your father worried about him. He didn't ask how I'm doing, I say quietly. Didn't mention Victoria's betrayal. Just wanted to know about money. Mom nods sadly. Your father knew you'd make the right choices. That night, I decide to start using Dad's money the way he would have wanted, not for revenge, but for purpose. Marcus's situation deteriorates rapidly. His construction projects fail inspections, investors discover he'd been using their money for his lavish lifestyle, and legal troubles multiply. Then, Amy Trent, Marcus's ex-wife, contacts Sarah, asking to speak with me. We meet at her attorney's office. Amy is elegant, sharp, pied, and angry. I heard he's with your ex-wife now, she says. I want you to know what kind of man he really is. She shows me documents Marcus's pattern of seducing married women, promising them luxury, then discarding them when someone wealthier appeared. Victoria is his 4th upgrade in 3 years, Amy explains. He targets women in vulnerable marriages, makes them feel special, uses them, then moves on, usually before his house of cards collapses. She smiles coldly. But this time he waited too long. His creditors are circling. The house he's living in, your former house, is mortgaged to oblivion. He'll lose everything within 60 days. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Her expression softens slightly. Because you deserve to know you dodged a bullet. And because sometimes karma doesn't need our help, it just needs time. Within days, news breaks. Marcus is arrested for fraud and embezzlement. The scandal is everywhere. Victoria's social media goes dark. All those glamorous photos deleted. Sarah texts me, have you seen the news? I have, and I feel nothing, no joy, no anger, just relief that I'm no longer part of that world. Victoria calls incessantly. I ignore her for a week. Finally, she shows up at my apartment. When I open the door, I barely recognize her. No designer clothes, just ordinary jeans and a T-shirt. Her confident posture has crumbled. She's been crying. Daniel, please, I need to talk to you. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sits on my couch and breaks down completely. Marcus is in jail. The house is being foreclosed. His creditors are coming after me because I signed documents. I have nothing. The jewelry was fake, credit cards maxed out. My family won't help because they're humiliated. I say nothing. I made a terrible mistake. She sobs. You were the best thing in my life, and I threw it away for nothing. It was all fake. He was fake. She looks at me with desperate hope. Can we start over? I know I don't deserve it, but I've learned. Learned what? I interrupt quietly. That I was valuable after all, that you should have kept me as backup. No, I learned that I was shallow and stupid and cruel. I learned that real worth isn't about money. Stop. My voice is firm. Victoria, you didn't learn anything. You're here because Marcus failed. If he hadn't, you'd still be posting photos of your upgraded life. Tears stream down her face. Please, I have nowhere to go. I'm about to be evicted. I thought maybe you'd help because you're kind. She's right that I'm kind. But kindness isn't stupidity. I'll pay for 1 month in a modest apartment. I tell her, I'll make sure you have basic furniture and food money for 30 days. After that, you're on your own, not because I'm cruel, but because that's what you need. To learn to stand on your own feet. Is there someone else? She asks bitterly. Is that why you're so cold? I shake my head. There's no one else. There's just me, finally understanding my own value. Goodbye, Victoria. With Sarah's guidance and Preston's counsel, I start using Dad's fortune the way he would have wanted. I anonymously fund 3 scholarships at my old university for students from working-class families. I donate to the children's hospital Dad built. I invest in community programs in the neighborhood where I grew up. Each donation feels like honoring Dad's memory. Mrs. Eleanor Price invites me to visit her community center, one Dad anonymously funded for 20 years. She's in her 70s, sharp and warm. When I arrive, she studies my face carefully. You look exactly like him, like your father. You knew him. He visited occasionally. Always in ordinary clothes, always declining recognition. She shows me photos Dad laughing with children, helping with homework, his face genuine and happy. He said his greatest fear was raising sons who'd be destroyed by easy wealth. Eleanor tells me, holding my hand, he wanted you to earn wisdom first. He'd be so proud of you, Daniel. Not because you inherited money, but because you survived betrayal and didn't let it make you cruel. Her words break something in me. I cry for the first time since childhood, mourning the father I thought I knew and celebrating the extraordinary man he actually was. Eleanor becomes an unexpected mentor, teaching me how Dad made decisions, how he evaluated causes, how he stayed humble. Mom visits more often, finally sharing stories she'd kept secret for decades. Dad's quiet heroism, his philosophy, his love for his family. I realized the inheritance wasn't money. It was this. Knowledge of who I am, what I value, and what kind of man I want to be. David calls occasionally, still pitching schemes. I help him pay off one legitimate debt, but refuse to fund his wild ideas. Slowly, he starts to understand. Sarah remains my trusted friend, never asking for anything, just being present. And late at night, when I look at Dad's note, I finally understand. The card wasn't about the money, it was about the moment I'd be worthy to receive it. 6 months after Victoria kicked me out, my life is unrecognizable, but not in the way anyone would expect. I still live modestly, in a comfortable but not extravagant apartment. I've started working again, consulting for nonprofits on technology systems, using my IT skills purposefully. The difference is internal. I know who I am now. I know what I'm worth, regardless of bank balances or others' opinions. Victoria tried contacting me one final time, via a handwritten letter delivered to Preston's office. In it, she apologizes again, admits she's working as a receptionist, living in a studio apartment, facing the reality she deserved. She doesn't ask for anything except forgiveness. I write back a brief note, saying I forgive her, not because she deserves it, but because I deserve peace. I wish her well, I mean it. Marcus is serving a 3-year sentence for fraud, according to Amy, who's become an unexpected friend. He's already planning his comeback. Some people never learn. David finally gets a legitimate job and stops calling with schemes. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. Mom and I visit Dad's grave on the anniversary of his death. Your father gave you a gift, she tells me. Not money, the gift of understanding that character is forged in fire, not comfort. At Dad's headstone, I place flowers and whisper, I understand now. Thank you. Sarah meets me after, and we walk through the park Dad anonymously funded. You know, she says thoughtfully, you could live anywhere, do anything. Why stay here, why work at all? I smile, because Dad was right. Easy wealth creates weak men. I don't want to be weak. I want to be worthy of what he built, she nods, understanding. For what it's worth, I think you already are. That evening, I review charitable proposals with Preston. We're establishing a foundation in Dad's name, finally revealing his identity posthumously. The revelation will shock people who knew him as the quiet factory worker, but his legacy deserves recognition. As I sign documents that will help thousands of people, I think about the night Victoria threw me out, when I stood in the rain feeling worthless. I think about the moment Linda showed me that impossible balance, and I realize the card didn't change me, the journey did. Dad knew exactly what he was doing. He gave me nothing when I thought I deserved everything, and everything when I'd learned I needed nothing. That's not just inheritance, that's love.